All right, it is 1 o'clock and we're going to go ahead and get started again. As I have let you know, Scrib Order is a client favorite, so we are looking forward to the presentation from this team, from Greg, Kelly, and Justin, coming up here at 1 o'clock. The other thing I do want to mention is that all sessions are being recorded. At the end of the day, we will take all of the sessions and chop them into short videos based on the product that we talked about or the topic that we talked about. So please know that if you have to walk away from your computer, if you have to step away, that's okay. We have this information and we will make sure to get it to you. So I'm going to turn it over to the Scrib Order team.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Scrib Order session today. My name is Greg Brookover with the Client Services team at Scribbles. On this session, we have Kelly Plurdy, who is an account manager, and Justin Cohen from our technical support team. So I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, and she's going to begin the presentation.
Great, thanks, Greg. We're going to start with a quick video from Kansas City Schools.
Hello, my name is Shiloh Lewis, and I'm the District Records Custodian for the Kansas City Public Schools in Kansas City, Missouri. We have been working with Scribbles for the past few months. We have absolutely enjoyed working with Scribbles. We are using the Scrib Order, which is making our online record processing system so easy and simple for our alumni and other corporations. We're using the K-12 transfer, which is allowing us to track our students, which is absolutely wonderful to see. To keep track of the dropouts and where they are going. And we look forward to working with the conversion piece of Scribbles as well. And we absolutely love working with the staff who respond so quickly to anything that we have going on. We absolutely love Scribbles.
Wonderful, thank you for those kind words. Get back to it. So yes, today we're going to look at the Scrib Order application. And we're taking the approach that most people on the line today are already familiar with Scrib Order or are using it in one way or another. So we want to focus today more on looking at advanced topics or best practices and ways to really expand your use of Scrib Order, as well as any tips and tricks. So that's really the primary focus today. However, if you are a brand new user or need a helping hand, we'll try to cover some of those as well as give you the tools that you need to to get some additional training. So first off, with Scrib Order, this is the student-facing side or your school district-facing side of Scribbles. So this should look familiar to most of you on the call. What I want to point out are that many school districts are using Scrib Order for former students or alumni students and for verification requests. Those are the most typical or most prominent things that Scrib Order is used for. And I just wanted to point out some additional areas that you can certainly turn on or add with your Scrib Order tool to include current students. Many school districts do use Scrib Order today for current students, but there's still some that do not. So just keep that in mind as an option. I can tell you that in March and really through May of this year with COVID, many school districts, when they were shut down, their current students were not able to go to the guidance counselors or to the counselors, to go to the schools and request their transcripts. So they needed a way, and we needed a way quickly for our clients that were not using the current student option to turn that piece on. And it's very simple. We can turn that on very quickly, very easily, but that allows your current students to request records. And normally that's a transcript to go to college. We also work with, at your state level, every state or many states have a state process of submitting records directly to in-state colleges. So we'll always promote that piece as well. So NCYs, for instance, in North Carolina and in Georgia, we have a few, and it varies state to state, but just know we always promote your inside option within your district, for your state. So that's current students, former student. If you provide replacement diplomas, we'll list that as well. So there's a link with an icon for a former graduate diploma. College and universities and verifications is pretty standard. Attorney and legal is another that some districts turn on. And this is for subpoenas mostly. And a lot of time it's for cumulative folders, but just note we can turn that piece on. Additionally, there's not an icon up here right now, but DACA or looking for diploma petitions, we can turn that on as well. So those are some things to keep in mind. This should also look pretty familiar. This would be still on that main screen within your ScribOrder site on your student-facing side or your public-facing side. And we can help you and work with you to determine what documents are being requested or provided from other school districts in your state or in your local region. But this is just a snapshot of different types of documents that you can request or you can provide as available for request, and then fees. And fees vary regionally. But we do track and monitor the fees, and we'll, ultimately those are your fees, you set your fees. We just give you guidance and recommendations on setting your fees. Additionally, on this page, if there's certain documents you do not provide, we'll list that as well. There's an area that says the following may not be requested. So if you find that you're getting calls for GEDs or duplicate diplomas and you don't provide that, we'll make a note of that, because the goal is to always reduce or omit calls to your staff at your schools. So that way all of the information for your requesters is available right there on their ScribOrder site. And we can update that information on a regular basis. I know for anyone on the line in South Carolina, for instance, we work with the Department of Education in South Carolina, and they will fulfill GED requests and those duplicate diploma requests. They'll even fill verification requests. So for some school districts in South Carolina specifically, we just route requests right to them, and they use the ScribOrder application at the state level to handle those requests, so you don't need to do so. We've scanned and converted all their records, so it's all available quickly and electronically for them to provide within that state. Additionally, we have the For More Information, which will list your school. Some schools, if you have ScribOrder at the current student right at the high school level, some schools will list all their schools here and have a list of each school. Now for the larger districts, that's not typically feasible, but we can put information here on your contact information. We do provide tech support for the general public, so that's listed here. And then your business hours. In summertime, we usually update this, holidays, etc. We also do pop-up messages. So many school districts are familiar with pop-up messages, but if you're not, that's a button where if I'm a requester submitting a request, when I click on to submit a request, a pop-up message will appear. And it's meant for vacation messages or school breaks, but it can relay any information. And the requester does have to click on it for it to go away. So it's a way to get your message clear. Additionally, there is, just like with all other Scribbles application, the ability for the requester to select their preferred language. Tom went into that in a lot of detail in the last demo. But just know that's available with all Scribbles applications, as well as this is mobile friendly. I can tell you that for many high schools that use ScribOrder at the school level, we give every district QR codes. And the QR code just looks like a barcode, but the kids know exactly what it is. They put their smartphone up to it and it will open up the ScribOrder page right on their mobile device. So that way they can complete the ScribOrder application right from their mobile phones. So at the high schools, the counselors will sometimes have this printed out on posters, just so that when kids are in the hallway looking to order their transcripts, they can direct them right to the poster or to their website at the schools or the central office website at the school. And they can either say, click here to order your transcript, or they can put a picture of the QR code, which the student can click on that as well. So those are just some ways to help your students easily navigate to submit their requests. Some thoughts, some recommendations to think about. So I kind of touched on this, but turn on the current student option. It really does make a lot of sense. It provides one location for your school, for all of your schools across the district. Additionally, if you currently have some schools that charge fees, others that don't, if your process varies between the schools, this is an opportunity for you to have a consistent process for all of your students. And this is true for alumni as well. So you want to make sure that you have from a FERPA standpoint, are requesting and providing the same equal details for every student. So if I'm a current student, I should have the same process at my high school that another student has within the same district at their high school. And so we can manage to that. Additionally, if you are using Scrib Order today at the high schools already, we can expand training to those staff members. If you have new employees that come on board, or if you have staff that changes from one school to the other, we can manage with that as well. I also want to point out that if you're using Scrib Order today at the central office to handle just former student requests, and perhaps you're handling 3 years after graduation or 4 years after graduation, and not all of your alumni, because you probably don't have the records in your presence at the central office until a few years after graduation, we can just turn on former students and route only former student requests at the high school for those couple of years. So that's an option to consider too. If you're not ready to have current students use Scrib Order, we can at least look at making sure all of your formal students have the same process. And this way, from an equity standpoint, if I'm a student that graduated last year versus a student that graduated 10 years ago, you're providing the same service, you're providing the same resource, and everything is the same for all of your former students across the board. So additional thoughts. So we recommend, and I actually run a lot of these 30-minute Scrib Order reviews. So usually it's on an annual basis or as needed. But if you've not spent time with your account manager looking at your Scrib Order site for a while, this is an option to consider, something to think about. So what we typically do in these is we review your student-facing side, and we look at the different documents that you provide today, the different fees that you charge today, and just ensure that you're in line with what other school districts are charging and the different documents as well. That's also an opportunity to talk about and discuss if you want to turn on Scrib Order for additional, former students. I have a number of school districts that will come to me and say, we're only handling so many years. I only have access to so many years. But we can go ahead and expand Scrib Order to those additional former students. Also, we can look at doing with an administrator within your Scrib, and I say administrator, your Scrib Order administrator, that's your main Scrib Order user. We can look at who are the employees that you have using Scrib Order today. So the processors, we want to make sure that we are tracking and managing that all of your processors. If you have former staff or staff that's moved on, we want to go ahead and make sure we have the appropriate security in place with your users. I also want to make note on routing. So routing, that sounds technical. Today, if you're using Scrib Order at the former student level, it's typically managed centrally just by your staff at the central office. So when we turn on Scrib Order for your current students, or if we turn it on just for the high school counselors and data managers for the few years of former students, we will route those requests directly to those schools. And so when we do that, we set up users that only have access to see records that pertain to their specific schools. So if I'm a school-based user, I'm only going to see Scrib Order requests that come in for my school, and I will not see other schools. I won't see any central office orders, and I would only see the years that pertain to me. So for current student requests, for example, I'll only see students for my high school, so 9th through 12th grade. So we set that all up, we configure to that, whatever your process is within your district, or within your school itself. Let's see, admin reviews. If you have changes that you need to make at any time, add a new user, remove a user, that would be a support item. So that's a support@scribsoft.com, as well as you can go through Intercom. Greg's going to log in shortly and show the Scribbles application. So we'll make sure we cover that as well. But if you have new users to add at any time, or if you have staff that has left and you want to remove those users, the best thing is to reach out to support so that we have a logged audit trail of that request. But as during a 30-minute review, I always like to look at those users that are in the system, particularly if you're using Scribbles at the school level, because we want to make sure if you need to add additional users or change any user's access, that we are tracking that. As far as training, so if you're a new user coming into Scribbles, we encourage you to reach out to support so that we can schedule a training. We also have train the trainer sessions where for some of our school districts, we'll train a subset of staff members at your school so that if you have new staff that needs training, you can help train them as well. But we also do refresher training, and I do schedule and run those quite frequently with school districts. So it's usually a group session. So if we have, with COVID right now, we had so many schools that turned on the current student model, for instance. And I would run 30 or 1-hour sessions with groups of staff at the high school level to show them what Scriborder looked like and how to process requests. And we always give you an online user guide, and we'll typically record training sessions so that you have that as a reference as well. So we do provide new user and refresher training. Additional recommendations, particularly right now with many schools being closed or having limited access, we can update verbiage to help with sending records electronically. So that's the big thing that we did starting in March. As you know, with the Green Leaf, you've always been able to send records electronically to colleges and universities. We've got over 6,500 colleges and universities in our e-transcript network. But in March, we turned on the ability to send transcripts electronically, securely, and records electronically to the applicant directly. So those would be official transcripts. I know Ron talked about that yesterday. They're sent through the blockchain. They're secure transcripts. They're official transcripts. You can send them directly to the applicant. We've also updated verbiage on your Scriborder sites to reference this. So if you feel like you want additional verbiage, or if you have questions regarding verbiage, we can certainly talk with you and help ensure that's a very nice, clean, crisp message to your requesters that they can receive their records electronically. And that's a big component. So those are some key recommendations. I want to talk about best practices too. And really the best practices piece, I'm going to have Greg demonstrate some best practices in a Scriborder environment. But I'll reference this page and make sure that we cover some of these items while he's going through it. One new item that came out just this week, and I want to say real quick that enhancements to Scriborder, because Scriborder is a very mature product, but enhancements to Scriborder do still come out, and they come out from requests and feedback from you, our users. So that's something we take very seriously. And the enhancement that came out this week was the ability to mandate uploading of files. So for instance, if I want to mandate that for a corporate request, if we want them to actually receive a transcript, then they need to provide a signed release from the student that I'm allowing this to happen. Or if I want to mandate that a driver's license is included. We would always request it, but now we've turned on the ability to mandate the uploading of files. It's an option that you can have or not have turned on, but that's new. Additionally, funding. So I'm jumping around a little bit. Okay, so Scriborder funds. your Scrib order funds and the checks that come every month, you can utilize those funds if you wish. And we're going to talk a little bit about this at the next session for other Scribbles application to include scanning services. So keep that in mind, that you can reallocate those funds that are being captured from Scrib order. We can also turn on the ability for your former students to donate to your district foundation. So if you have a foundation within your district, we do have a number of schools that do this. They give the option to donate $1 when they check out to go towards their district foundation. Greg's going to talk more about sending records electronically, so I'll leave that for him. But I wanted to touch on corporate requests. And this is something I see all the time in my training. So if I do a review with a school district, we talk about if a request is coming from a corporation, they're typically only asking for the verification of attendance or the verification of graduation. So I just want to highlight in best practices that you have templates for that. You have verification templates, and you want to make sure that you use them, that your staff at the schools, that your team members, that they're using those verification templates. In most cases, you'll have 2 approval templates. One will say graduation verification, and the other will be non-graduation verification. They're both approvals. They're both verifying that that student attended and or graduated. And it's really a quick process. You should be able to view the transcript and then answer the questions, but you're not needing, nor should you attach those transcripts for those requests. You're just clicking the appropriate approval template. So if you find that a student did not graduate, it's still an approval because they attended. So that's a non-graduation approval. We're also going to look at the red button. So I'll make sure that Greg points that out as well for communicating with your students. And then lastly, there's lots of great reports that are there. Some are available for standard authorized users, and others are administrative style reports, which have a little bit more detail. So for contact information, I touched on support. So you have support at scribsoft.com for any support related questions, as well as if you want to turn on or add the virtual print driver. So I'm sure Greg will touch on that as well. But I always recommend going through to support because they log and they track every request as it comes in. And I do get, and I'm notorious for handling support calls or emails that come to me. And I'm happy to do it when I can. It's just that I'm not always available. And sometimes it is over my expertise. But I'm not tracking or auditing the request. So it's always good to go into support. You can CC me, and I can always help when available. But if you send a message to support directly, that is your best bet. I do have my email here as well. I'm happy and would love to schedule a 30-minute review with any districts that want to look at it. If you feel that your staff maybe is not completing requests, maybe they need a refresher training, if you have a lot of open orders, or if you just feel like there's some room for improvement in how your staff is using the application, or if you've had a staff changeover or anything like that, it's a really good opportunity to look further at Scribbles. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, let Greg come up and look at the demo side of Scribbles, and we can talk through some of those items.
Thanks, Kelly. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on a few of the points that she mentioned live with the Scrib order product. Many of you are familiar with this screen. First item that I wanted to mention and kind of go over a little bit was the e-transcript process of sending documentation electronically. As most of you know, that is probably one of the #1 bullet points of the Scrib order product, is the ability to get transcripts electronically and securely to colleges, as well as since the pandemic, a lot of districts have started using this to send electronically to the applicants as well. There has been an enhancement added to the product in the past several months that allows the green leaf icon to appear on the unassigned orders page, giving users a visual cue of which orders can be processed electronically. A lot of users had asked for that enhancement so that they can quickly get the low-hanging fruit or the easiest orders out of the queue. Rather than have to open up every order and see that it can be sent electronically, we've given that visual cue here on the unassigned order screen. So a lot of you may know this. I'm just going to jump into a particular order here. This happens to be one of Kelly's demo orders to go over that process. As you can see, there's a couple of universities here that the student would like their transcripts to be sent to. One of the indicators, of course, inside of the order that the university or college will accept transcripts electronically is the green leaf here on this column. But how do we do that, right? A lot of users are going to have a student information system or a document management software or possibly transcripts on a server that they've stored and scanned in a previous scenario. But all of those can be sent electronically. It really doesn't matter the system that you have. All you have to do is simply open the transcript up in those systems and do a simple 3-step process in order to attach this to the order and send it electronically. Step number 1 is simply print the order, the transcript or the documentation itself to a printer.scriborder.com printer. Now, this would be a virtual printer that needs to be installed on your system one time. It takes about 5 minutes. Usually you have instructions with your welcome email on how to do that, but of course you can reach out to myself or tech support in order to get that installed. But once that's there, you simply do step 1, which is print the transcript to that printer driver. Step 2, simply come back to the order, go to the print queue here along the top. That's going to have your documents that you just sent into the order. Simply click the attach button and then attach it to this order. So step 1, we simply printed the transcript to the print driver. Step 2, we pulled it from the individual print queue, which is assigned to each user, and attached it to the order. Step 3, and the most important step, is you come down to the bottom for documents available for e-delivery. There's the transcript that we just added to the order. Simply click the sign and send button. And then the colleges that had the green leaves beside them at the top, they pop out here. Obviously, everyone that the student had asked for to be sent electronically would be listed here. You do have to click on each one because we give you a individualized expiring link window that will be sent over. We offer you a comments box here that you can type comments to that college or registrar. However, it's not necessary to put comments in here because we do send an email with the student's information. Hi, this is a student transcript request from Kelly Flaherty from your district school name. So they know where this is coming from and what student this is for, but you can type comments if you like. There is an expiration on that transmission that they can only look at those documents 10 times. They can't look at them an 11th time, or an expiration date out about 90 days. You can edit these if you'd like, but these are normally the defaults. Then all you have to do is click the send link button, and now that transcript has been sent over to that college itself. If you have another college, you simply do the same process again by expanding the box, click sign and send, pick the next college in the list, and hit the sign and send button. There is also the ability now, since the entrance of COVID, that you can send an official transcript to the applicant, goes through the same process, has the same secure download methodology, or you can send an unofficial copy to the student through our system, which an unofficial copy will have unofficial watermark through the document. Again, these documents are still part of our blockchain process, meaning the documents can be checked at any point along the way to verify that they have not been modified. So once these documents are sent, when I do a refresh, I now have entries down here about eTrans started. When the college performs a download, there'll be another entry in the history that's kept with this order that reads eTrans accessed. So if you do receive a phone call, and even if you did not process this order, but were part of your school's Scrib order process, you can search for the order, open the order up, tell the person on the phone, yes, we had sent the document to the college on 11/19, and then you can see the E-Trans accessed entry down here under this action and say, and the college downloaded it on 11/20. So anybody that has access to the system for your school can pull that information up and see that that has taken place. We've also added visual cues up here that now the green leaf has turned into an arrow and it says E-Trans sent if you hover the mouse over it. When a college downloads it, the little green leaf will also have a check mark on it and it'll read E-Trans accessed, showing that the college has downloaded that document. Another point that Kelly had mentioned that we wanted to talk about was approval templates. We can create you a number of approval templates that will save you in messaging and make your messages more uniform across your entire Scribble order process and all schools that use that. As an example, here are some templates that we have in our demo site. So any of these that I select automatically populates the box up here. Of course, anytime you could type your own personal message if you need to. I will say that it is important that you're very concise in this final approval message to the student for two reasons. One reason is that we don't want the student to be confused. So if they ask for transcripts to be sent to their home, they may not know that you're sending them electronically, which is fine. You can tell them in the final approval message that you have sent a transcript to the college and you will be sending an electronic transcript to their email address for them to download. That's an important reason. Number two reason is we're going to keep this approval message with this order. So if somebody does call in and has questions about the order, if somebody else needs to pull this order up and answer those questions, they'll be able to read that approval message and answer any questions they have, even if they didn't process that order. These are also where you do your graduation verification templates. You can choose that if the student did graduate. This is for your third-party companies that need graduation verification. Simple as clicking graduation verification puts a message up here. It says our records show Kelly Plerdy is educated at Dot Lake School. You can insert the year here if you need to, or just clear that off if you just want to say we have proof that they graduated. There's also a non-graduation verification right here that says they may have attended but did not obtain a diploma from your school district at all. Simply select those two, one of those two, click approve, and that completes a graduation verification order. Another item is notifications on orders. So up here along the top in the process order section, anytime you have an order that a student has asked for a question or a comment, has uploaded documents that maybe you are waiting on, the little red exclamation point will appear here along the top and tell you you have orders that need attention regarding notifications. You simply click the process orders button, click unread notifications. That will bring up all of the notifications that pertain to your orders. Some of them are as simple as just reading messages that they typed in. In particular, we talked about K-12 transfer yesterday on the session. And the messaging part of the K-12 transfer is generating a lot of notifications simply because other schools are just saying, hey, thanks for sending me over the records. Regardless, we still want to try to keep those cleared out or at least responded to. There may be situations where a student has a question. You can simply open the order back up for that order with the notification. You can come down and read the student question that would be listed here. And then you can click Inform of Progress on the order to answer that question. Now, this particular order in front of you now is a transfer order, and that has some notes in here where the communication has taken place. To clear those orders, you can simply click the little red exclamation point to clear the notice, or if it's just a simple thank you for the order or something you do not need to respond to, you can click the Clear Notice button here on the notification screen. Okay, another item to speak on would be the reporting area. And I think Kelly and I will kind of just tag team this a little bit. Under the reports section, you have a number of reports that you can use. The basic report itself is just that. It reports on basic information of orders. We have some quick buttons here at the top to just let you jump into, well, just show me the orders submitted this month, and that'll bring up the orders here. You can also do it by statuses. You can do it by, well, I want to see, you know, if John Doe processed orders, I want to see what they did. You can select by that. You can do it by the type, and you can also do it by the range, meaning I want to see all orders processed by John Doe between January and March. You can do that. Once you enter this criteria, you can click Run Report, and it'll bring up those results.
So I'm going to ask some of these questions, Greg, just because I know I'm watching the time and we have a lot of questions here.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay. So there's a few questions in regards to helping families or students that have hardship cases, and how would they go about paying, or what are options available? I don't know if you maybe want to just touch on the coupon code briefly.
Yep. So built into the system is what we call a coupon code. It's a simple button right here on the process order screen. Once you select the coupons button, you'll be taken to the coupons page. Here you can simply generate a coupon by clicking the blue generate button on the right. I always like to put the student's name in, John Doe. Leave permanent coupon set to false so they only can use it one time. Click generate, and then I can tell them either over the phone, via email, or however they communicated with me their situation of hardship. Whatever number and letter combination appears here, they'll use that at the bottom of the submittal form. There's a box there for coupon code. Once they put that in and click proceed to checkout, it will not charge them, and that code will then no longer work for them for any other orders. They can't give it to anybody else to use to get a free order with. Then the order will come into your queue, and you'll be able to process it as normal.
Great, thank you. So there's a few questions about sending records electronically, and I think you touched upon that pretty well, where a record can be sent electronically either to the college or university or directly to the applicant as official or unofficial.
Correct.
Additionally, how about the stamping? So when we sign and send, there's a question, do we need to stamp it and then upload it?
No, it's not necessary. We have a built-in stamping process for official transcripts. We generate a cover page with your logo on it. We can customize that if you do need a signature with that stamping method on the document. So we're taking care of that for you automatically when you transmit the orders to the colleges. We've been doing that for a number of years now. Colleges accept that as an official record.
Great. And I'll just point out, there was a question, what if you have a college that does not have the green leaf? And we actually have some templates now that we can provide you if you want to reach out to a particular college and just let them know that we would really, we as in the school would really like you to start accepting records electronically from Scribbles. I did mention we have about 6,500 colleges and universities using Scribbles today. And allowing us to send records electronically to them. But if you find others that are not, you can notify us. And if we already know that that's a school district that for one reason or another has said no, we can give you a template where you can sort of reach out to them as well. On that note, just a quick bit of information. Scribbles sends more than 1 million transcripts a year. And that's through Scrib Order as well as K-12 transfer together. We send more than 1 million of those out a year. Another question, where do you see what your fund balance is? And so the best way to do that is with your monthly statement that should come to you. It will come to a specific person at your district. But there is a report, a transaction report that Justin mentioned. Only administrators see that, but maybe if you want to just show that real quick, Greg.
Sure. Under the reports area, there's a transaction report that can be generated. Let me just bump this up a little further into the past or back into the past. So there's all the transaction that took place in that time frame. So it shows where coupon codes were used, where credit cards were used, by transaction, by order. This is all exportable out into Excel if you need to. The Excel reports will have probably a few more columns of data. We're limited to space here on the screen. So you can export that out and get even more detail about transactions that took place in that time period.
Another is, if a prior student needed to download an ID, will they be able to download it in the request? And I'm thinking it's uploading.
Yeah, they can upload. If you do make it a mandated option, they'll be prompted to do that. If you don't make it mandated but still need a copy, you can request that from the order when you're working on it. There's a button in the order. Just open up another order here to show you. There's a button up here that says send ID auth message. So when you click that, you can type in a message to please upload a copy of a valid non-expired photo ID, and then just put this order on hold. I would always end that with please do so within 5 to 7 business days or your order may be denied. When they upload it, it'll turn into a notification that I talked about earlier, that you can go into the order. And when they do that, it will be down here in Documents Private to Order Detail. It'll be listed here. You can click on it and open it and view that ID.
And there was a question, so mandating must be requested. So today, or let's see, always we've had the ability to set up the request for requesters to upload documents, whether it's an ID or a release of information form. But they would get to a point where they would have the option to fax it in if they didn't have it with them. So that we always gave them an additional option to continue placing the order. But we've had enough of requests from various districts so that now we have turned on the ability where it can be mandated. It doesn't have to be mandated, but it can be mandated. So just let us know within support and we can turn that feature on for you. I think we've answered all the questions. Justin, did I miss any?
I don't think so. I've been trying to monitor them as well. There's one here from Rosalind Scott asking if we could send her a PowerPoint for something. I don't know if I have to look and see what the reference for that conversation was. But I do have an announcement to make for the winner for our panels group, or for our group rather.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, let me go ahead and get that out. So the winner is Becky Maddox with Lee County Schools. That is the winner. So
Yay.
Congratulations to Miss Maddox. Yeah, so there's my moment to shine.
Awesome, thank you. So there's a few little questions coming in that are specific. So let us look into those and we'll get back to you one-on-one. Kelly, are you support? No, I'm an account manager, but I would say in March, I took on an additional role and it just makes sense. So
everybody loves Kelly. Thank you, Justin and Greg. Justin, you really did shine. Good job. Very good. And Greg, thank you for taking us through all of those steps. That's truly helpful. And I think the PowerPoint probably is your PowerPoint, Kelly, that they would like. And what we are doing is we are recording every session, and we will add the session and the presentations to our YouTube account. So that is coming. If there's something specific that you need